Okay, so this is week 2 of us integrating our agents into Unreal Engine. You can see Stephen is new and improved. You can see Steve's name up the top. So oh, and look at this. Stephen sits now. That was something that I hoped to show you last week, but didn't want to work. Look at that, isn't that beautiful? So this is Stephen. Looks like Stephen's doing some drawing at the moment. I'm surprised he's not cooking dinner. It's nighttime here. The last couple times I've tested him, he's been preparing dinner, but it looks like he's gone for a different afternoon routine here. All of his tasks and everything he does is based on the time in my time zone. So if it's nighttime, he's more likely to be cooking dinner or preparing for bed. If I'm testing in the daytime, he's more likely to be entertaining himself, sketching, doing that kind of thing. This is something I wanted to show you. The last 3 updates, but it hasn't worked because of my coding skills. This will take a while for the response to come through because there's a lot of optimization to be done. Stephen notices the kitchen is very dirty. There we go. So that will take a little while, but that text box there is for us to test the agent's reactions. So if they notice something going on around them, or they notice a change in the environment, yeah, for example, the kitchen being dirty. So that'll take a minute to come through. The progress the last week has been a little slower than we would have liked it to be. Unfortunately, Daniel, my brother that I work with, he has gotten sick the last 3 or 4 days. So this week's mostly been me flying solo, and he's the Unreal Engine wizard. I'm usually more working in the code and architecture end of things. Yes, so Daniel's been unwell, which has meant that I've been flying solo in Unreal, which has been a struggle for me because I haven't used Unreal Engine properly in a year. Here we go. Now he's only just getting the response from noticing the kitchen's dirty now. A lot of optimization to be done. I've also made a good start on the dialogue system, which I'll show you here. Here's Stephen. We'll see if he wants to respond. So the dialogue system isn't fully integrated, unfortunately, because that's a bug. Hey, Stephen. I'm not sure if that's lowercase, so it looks like it's just returning my text back to me. There's always got to be bugs. There we go. Yes, so the dialogue system is working pretty well in code, but I haven't fully integrated it into Unreal Engine yet. It's not too far off being set up to have multiple agents operating in this space at once, so they'll be able to walk around and kind of bump into each other. And if they do happen to want to talk to each other, they'll be able to have a conversation and then kind of remember that conversation and keep going about their day when they're done. That's working pretty well in code, but I'm sure it's going to be a whole other thing to integrate it into this. We're starting, our process with this has been that we will come up with a whole new design for an architecture every week or two, and then just kind of start from scratch or close to starting from scratch and just build the entire thing from the ground up, test it out, look at its limitations, look at its strengths, and then try to make the next iteration better. So we're just reaching the end of this version 3 of the architecture. We knew there was going to be a lot of problems with it, and we're just we see what needs to be improved. So then we'll go back to the drawing board. So quite possibly next week when you, on our next update, there won't be too many exciting changes on the Unreal Engine side of things because a lot of the work just goes into the architecture at first, and then the last thing is plugging it all into Unreal. But yeah, you can see some changes and improvement here. My favorite of all, let's see if I can get him sit on the desk. Stephen feels. There we go. Yeah, there's so much optimization to be done. It's ridiculous how long it takes for him to respond. But I don't want to optimize the system if I'm. Oh, there we go. That wasn't too bad. Resting his eyes, that's good. Yeah, I don't want to go optimizing the system if I'm rebuilding it every week. So yeah, this is where we're at. When Daniel's back at it, we'll be moving faster. Yeah, we have made pretty good progress. I'm quite happy with how I'm moving along. We plan on working on this for the very long term. Our focus is really on fleshing out the API as best, or the architecture as best we can, so our system could eventually just be plugged into anything. It'll be really, really exciting when we have multiple agents running around in here. At this point, one more change that you haven't seen over the past week is set it up so you have like a real-time mode. So every task has an expected duration, and I can just flick it into real-time mode. And so, for example, if the agent wants to have a nap right now, everything only takes 10 seconds. But if you wanted to have a half an hour nap, it would actually take half an hour. I was testing that earlier, but in theory, I could just run this agent all day, kind of check in, and it would be doing more or less realistic actions. Still so much work to be done, but hey, we're only a short way in, so a lot of time for improvement. Let me see, there was one more thing I wanted to show you, I think, which was, yeah, see, errors. I've got these details, hopefully you can see them all right, down the bottom right, for traits, which is just pretty much a personality description. Stephen is a cheery guy with a love for cooking and cleaning. He loves to read all day and work on projects. So I was testing earlier with him being an old grumpy man, and he spent like most of his day doing kind of longer tasks and just sitting down and reading. But when I tried to talk to him, he was more inclined to be grumpy and ignore me. So I made him a bit more cheery and friendly, which made it easier to test. Yeah, I think that's it. Thanks for checking in, and I'll see you next week.